And welcome back to America Right Now. I'm Tom Basile. 1 year after schools began shutting down due to the pandemic, millions of American school children remain stuck at home in Zoom school, despite data and guidance from the CDC months ago that they were safe to reopen with precautions. It's started a pitched battle between parents and public school teachers unions. Grassroots groups of parents, even in blue states like New York, are speaking up, and they're getting results, just as national groups are turning up the heat. In our Taking Back Our Schools segment this week, the battle to reopen. Let's welcome Eric Hartman. He's a working parent of elementary school children and the coordinator for Open Westchester Schools, and Dee Duncan. He's executive director of the State Government Leadership Foundation. Eric, let's start with you. Not easy to fight this system, but you and your fellow parents are, and you're having successes. What made you finally say, you know what, I'm going to stand up and fight back?
Well, it started in the summer when we had to figure out whether or not to send our kids to summer camp. We did our research and we sent our kids to summer camp. And when they came back, we were very surprised that our local school districts had not only planned for good news, they had only planned for the absolute worst case scenarios. And that meant remote school, Zoom school, with no end in sight. And that's when we knew we really had to buckle down and start changing public opinion around here.
Dee, the State Leadership Government Foundation and End to America just rolled out an ad campaign Thursday to press Democrats to support reopening schools. Talk to us about the ad blitz. Where is it running and why?
Absolutely. You know, we've been told for a year by Dr. Fauci, the CDC, to follow the science, to get our kids back in the classroom. If we follow the science, to do what we're told to do, we can get back in the classroom. And that just hasn't happened. So, you know, we have worked with our partners at Into America to launch this campaign until we get our kids back in the school. You know, currently we're in Virginia, North Carolina, New Jersey, and Michigan, and we'll continue the fight until our kids are back in the schools 5 days a week in person permanently.
Eric, at a grassroots level, this is really, though, a nonpartisan issue. You live in a part of the world that is heavily Democratic, Westchester County, New York, right outside of New York City. Our parents are approaching this just as parents. They're not approaching this as partisans, right?
Absolutely. And it was a marked change, especially after the inauguration. I think a lot of parents, they kind of bought into the mainstream narrative. And when the administration changed, and not only did the guidance not magically change, it kind of got worse. And we saw a real wave of parents that were just ready to throw away the politics and ready to focus on and fight for our children. And that's been a really, really good thing. I know we live in a really hyper-partisan time, but I got to be honest, it's very heartening to see everybody come around and support our kids this way. I firmly believe that parents, even in these deep blue areas, are in the majority at this point.
And Eric, what exactly are you doing to organize? If you could quickly just give us a sense, because this is helpful for parents all across the country who feel like they want to stand up, but they're not quite sure how.
Absolutely. And it's tough. And especially when you look at things like the unions, where they're essentially professional protesters, right? We are working parents. We are chef, cook, and bottle washer at our houses. We work, a lot of us work 2 jobs. And at night, we're scrambling to figure out what to do. There are essentially a patchwork group of organizations on Facebook and Twitter. They're easily findable. And what's happened in the last few months is that all of these have come together. It is a patchwork quilt, but it is a great one. It is a really good support network. And I would encourage any parent out there who is interested in being a hero for our children to just go out and search, reach out. Even the ones coming from the left, even the ones coming from the right, they will help you. They will fold you into their local, and we will make a change together.
Dee, do you think that parents, particularly suburban parents, are starting to figure out that the Biden administration isn't coming to the rescue here?
Absolutely. And, to that point, this is not a partisan issue. This is not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is a kids issue. And, we have seen that parents are fed up. President Biden said in his first 100 days he was going to have kids back in the classroom. Well, that's not popular with the teachers unions, and so you've seen a little bit of change in the rhetoric there. And so I think that parents are fed up. This is, again, not a partisan issue.
right.
This is not about Republicans and Democrats. We all have to come together for what's best for our schools. And I think that the liberal politicians
all right.
that are
I've got to jump. I've got a heart out. Eric Hartman and Dee Duncan, thank you for standing up for our kids.
Thank you, Tom.
And we'll be right back to America Right Now.